Welcome to KetoMealsAndRecipes.com. Today's recipe is part 2 of a 3-part series of Korean recipes featuring kimchi. This recipe is my kimchi fried cauli rice breakfast, which of course, as all of my videos are, it's keto, sugar-free, and gluten-free. I've already gone into a lot of detail on how to prepare the basic kimchi fried cauli rice in my previous video, so please go to that video if you need a step-by-step and more detailed explanation. In this video, I'll just provide the highlights. I'd also like to mention that if you like my video tutorials and recipes and find them useful, I would request that you please subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and scroll down to all so that you will be notified when I post my next video. This really helps my channel, and to be quite frank, it helps me to stay motivated and continue posting videos. In order that you can decide how much of this keto version of a Korean breakfast recipe you can enjoy, and as a personal guideline, the macronutrient ratio for my kimchi fried cauli rice breakfast is 3.1 to 1, with 8.6 grams of total carbs, 2.4 grams of soluble fiber, 1 gram of insoluble fiber, resulting in 5.2 grams of net carbs per full breakfast, which also includes the fried egg. As with the basic kimchi fried cauli rice, you'll need to use my hot Korean Gochujang barbecue sauce, and you also need to buy some sugar-free kimchi. Let me know by leaving a comment if you'd be interested in a DIY kimchi recipe video. Homemade kimchi is not hard to make, and the instructions are fairly easy, so I'd be happy to make it for you. And as a reminder to everyone, new and old, you can find the link to the mentioned video recipes and the printable written recipe for this video in the description below. So just scroll down, find the link, and click on it. Now, let's get cooking. When I was reviewing classic versions of this recipe, I noticed that in many videos they used Enoki mushrooms. By the way, I hope I'm pronouncing Enoki correctly. Let me know if I'm not. These mushrooms can be found in most Asian grocery stores, but if you can't find them, an alternative would be to use chopped up oyster mushrooms, or failing that, you can also use cremini mushrooms. They're like the white button mushrooms but have a brown top. Just chop them up into tiny little pieces. If you're using enoki mushrooms, all you have to do is cut off the end with the roots and then separate them into 1 or 2 little clumps. And having done that, just set the mushrooms aside. The next step is to drain and squeeze your kimchi. And once you've taken out the moisture from the kimchi, just chop it up into small bite-sized pieces. Don't throw away the liquid because you need about 1/4 cup. This is how you cook the kimchi fried cauli rice. First, heat up your dry wok or deep-sided frying pan on medium heat, and then add 1 tablespoon of sesame seed oil. When you see that the oil is heated and starting to sizzle, drop in the enoki mushrooms. Leave them alone for about a minute, and then toss them once or twice and immediately transfer them to a cool plate so they stop cooking. Now, use the same wok or pan and add the remaining 2 tablespoons of oil. When your oil is sizzling hot, drop in the gochujang barbecue sauce, stir until the oil and the gochujang are well combined, and cook for about 1 minute. At this point, pour in the kimchi juice and the water and stir to combine. Now you have made the basic sauce. To your sauce, add the chopped kimchi and stir and cook for 1 minute. At which point you simply drop in all your chopped cauliflower rice and with a spatula, toss scooping from the bottom until all of your cauliflower rice is well coated. Then cover the pan with a lid and let steam cook for 5 to 6 minutes, or until the cauliflower rice is at the al dente stage. At this point, remove the lid and distribute the enoki mushrooms on top. And gently fold the cauliflowers and enoki as you cook for 1 to 2 more minutes. Now it's time to remove the kimchi fried cauliflower rice from this hot pan and transfer everything onto a platter to prevent overcooking. Because if you overcook the cauli rice, it will be soggy and have a rubbery texture, and that's not what you want. If you're thinking, I only need to make for 1 or 2 breakfasts, I'd like to mention that this kimchi fried cauli rice can be stored in an airtight container in your refrigerator for up to several days. By making the full batch, you can use it for your breakfast immediately, and the rest can be used as prep ahead for some other day's breakfast or as a side dish for your dinner. Now this is how I make a single serving for breakfast. When I'm making breakfast just for myself, I begin by frying 1 egg sunny side up. I'm not fond of runny yolks, but for this recipe, yes, you do need to have a runny yolk, or at least a slightly runny yolk. The best way to prepare a sunny side egg is to put butter in your frying pan, which is set on medium heat, and then when the butter is melted and is sizzling, carefully drop the egg into the pan and season with a light sprinkle of salt and pepper. Here's a tip. To prevent the egg yolk from breaking, drop it as close to the surface of the pan as you can. And then just fry the egg until the albumin, the egg whites, is well done. And this is how I plate my breakfast. First, I transfer 1 serving portion of the kimchi enoki cauli fried rice onto a plate, and then I place my egg on top of the cauli rice. For extra flavor, I sprinkle some chopped up green onion bits, like this. The next part is totally optional, but to complete a Korean style presentation, I like to garnish with small strips of my roasted sushi grade nori, which I first break into long strips, and then I cut the strips into little pieces. The last thing I do is to sprinkle toasted white sesame seeds on top. You can also use dark sesame seeds or even poppy seeds. For those of us who don't like the runny egg yolk, the first thing I do is I cut into the egg yolk and let it seep into the cauli rice. The runny egg yolk really combines well with the cauli rice. I hope you give this recipe a try because this Keto Korean breakfast is both tasty, beautiful to look at, and extremely nutritious. And for those of us who are looking for alternative recipes for breakfast, I hope this will be useful to you and that you will enjoy it. Thank you very much for watching my video, especially if you made it all the way to the end. And I hope that you'll come back when I post my next video. In the meanwhile, I have posted some end links that you might also like if you like this recipe. Until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day. Cheers!